Damn. Y'all feel that?
Yeah. 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 A message to all you pseudo spitters. The sound is cool, but the trend I see is the truth is missing. I feel the flow is stupid. You claim that the music's different. I guess it's all opinion, depending on who was listening.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR Podcast. Hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back and in the building for something y'all haven't seen in a while, and that is a new episode of No Rose Podcast. Yes, that's right. No Rose Podcast. Yes, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back for episode 79. Yes, we should have been on episode 8 a long time ago, but we took a little hiatus. We took a break. Life be life and busy be busy and all that stuff like that. And everything been going on lately. And also, I've been in rehab because I injured my knee a while back. And so, but I'm on the road to recovery. But besides all that, everything to the side, we are back. We are in business. And my brothers, before we start on this episode, Harv, Big Harv, and J-Bo himself, how y'all feeling today? How y'all been? I gotta say how y'all been. I gotta say how y'all feeling. How y'all been? It's been a while.
Man, been out here, as you mentioned, been out here lifing, fathering, husbanding, familying, all the things. That's what I've been on lately.
Big Harv. Sounds very familiar. Been dealing with a lot of the personal stuff, man. But we back. Time to get to business. Get to work.
That's right. Time to get the business. And before we give y'all this work real quick with this episode, you have to do us a real big favor for us that we haven't asked for in a good minute, probably about a month. And guess what that favor is to do? Follow us on all social media platforms, KTR Podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, No Rose Podcast, Facebook, YouTube. Oh, shoot, was that right? Yeah, Facebook, YouTube, No Rose Podcast. It's been a minute. I ain't did a lot. I forgot. I personally forgot, so it's my bad. I'm sorry. But No Rose Podcast on all podcast platforms. Got Google Podcasts, got Spotify, got Anchor, got Apple Podcasts. Apple Podcasts got Podbean. We're on everything. And don't forget to get that merch at proverstees.com/KTR Podcast. Let's go. Let's get into the show real quick.
Yeah.
It's been a minute. It's been a while. We got something big coming up, and that is Survivor Series. Survivor Series is one of the biggest pay-per-views in WWE's history. Is it categorized as one of the big four?
Yeah.
It used to be. Yeah, I think it's still is.
But for me personally, I feel like it's panning out to be that way this year for some odd reason. Yeah. I really miss the old format of Survivor Series, which is Raw versus SmackDown. I really like the one they had Raw versus SmackDown versus NXT. But this one, they went away from that whole dynamic. We just getting war games with the Judgment Day and Ram Superstars. We're going to dive into that a little bit later too, as well, with the Judgment Day, because that's the topic as well at hand too. But it may tie to what we're talking about. So, in regards to Survivor Series, how y'all feeling about the upcoming PLE we got on the road? That's next Sunday. Well, it will be this Sunday when this episode come out. But yeah, how y'all feel about it?
I mean, me personally, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not really that interested in it. One of a few reasons. Number one, there's only 3 matches that's been confirmed for the card. That's the Intercontinental title match with Gunther and Miz. That's the women's title match with Zoe Stark and Rhea Ripley. And Zoe Stark, they really have not done that much to build her for real for this match. And then there's the War Games match. Obviously, we're going to get the women's War Games match coming eventually. So that's maybe 4 at that point. I don't know. I don't really care too much for it. Cinko, you kind of hit on it already, where they kind of went away from their original format, which was the traditional Raw versus SmackDown, team versus team, and they're going with this War Games thing, which I'm cool because last year it was the first time they did that for Survivor Series. It was either last year, the year before, and that's cool. It's fine, but it looks like this is the trend that they're going to go with. I don't know, maybe because I'm old school, or I like the originality, or I just simply like what Survivor Series have done for over 20 years, and that's just to have the traditional tag team versus tag team type matchup. I don't know. I don't really care too much for this. We'll talk about Judgment Day later, but each match is just okay to me, and it's just kind of going to be on in the background for me. Yeah, that's how I feel.
Big hole.
I agree with both of y'all, man. I feel like they're selling it basically on war games. They're just selling war games. And because of that, they're allowing the build and the match count and everything to be lackluster because they count on people paying attention because it's war games. I personally feel like, same just like y'all, they should have kept to the Survivor format, the elimination tag, big team versus big team, SmackDown versus Raw for brand supremacy. However you want to do that. I'm not a fan of. I feel like they could have made War Games its own separate thing. It's not like WWE doesn't have regular multi-man matches for big stakes, so they could have replaced like Hell in a Cell with it. You know what I'm saying? They have entire pay-per-views that they have wrapped around specific match types. I don't think they should have sacrificed Survivor Series and joined it with something like War Games, and I feel like that's really where it's falling short. They're just relying on the War Games name for everything to do all the pushing for them.
Mm-hmm. You know, like I said, like they should have just left the NXT stuff to NXT. I don't know why I try to bring up an NXT, you know, mainstay event to like the main roster. Like just keep it down there for it. So, like I said, make it its own show or just something along the lines down the road. Because like the whole thing, like Survivor Series, just give us that matchups of things we want to see that we may not really see often. We may get that rematch with Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns, because we didn't get to see a complete end of it when it was here in St. Louis when it ended in no disqualification. We could probably get into that match where nobody lost the title and somebody could get pinned and like that. So that could play the part in it as well. Like I said, well, we can't really do nothing about the tag teams because they want to keep the belts together as a unified thing. So that's just out the picture. But the thing about it is, we have actual general managers for two different shows now, which they were looking like at the beginning, I mean, still are, or having their like little feud, you know, with Atlas and Pierce. Like it made sense to actually have a Raw versus SmackDown show, like a Team Raw, Team SmackDown, IC title versus US title, Raw tag team versus SmackDown tag team, women champions versus women. Like that made sense.
Mm-hmm. And this would have been the perfect year to at least start that, because the whole separate general manager thing that started a month ago. Like it's fresh, it's still good. Both general managers are on TV regularly, and just leading that up to a traditional Raw versus SmackDown tag team match. Even if you didn't throw NXT in there, just from the fact that we have two distinct general managers now, that would have been a perfect segue into something that WWE has been notorious for Survivor Series. But who knows?
Got anything to add to that, Big Horror?
No, I agree. I just feel like they've fallen out of touch with what Survivor Series is to fans. What we look forward to seeing. It was once a time where they just had too much of the brand versus brand stuff, and now I feel like it's because they don't know how to separate the brands completely. You know, we joke about how the brand doesn't matter. You know, we see who is it, Kevin Owens popping up all over the place, and you know, they just don't keep people separate, so they don't see the value in it the same way we do. I guess that's what it is. I don't know, but I'm not a fan. I'm hoping the best for it as always, but I'm not a fan of the format right now.
Cool. I feel you on that. Well, you know what else I'm not a fan of? The Judgment Day. You know, Judgment Day. No, it was a good segue to go into that. I'm not a big fan of Judgment Day right now, and the whole thing that is going on, because I personally feel like it's running ideal is kind of getting stale a little bit. That's just my personal opinion with this. But now it looks like they have more people coming in the fold. You know, J.D. McDonough, he's popped his little ass in the show every now and then. Now we got Drew McIntyre assisting with the Judgment Day and with all the things they got going on. So with this in the Judgment Day, basically running Monday Night Raw, pretty much, how do y'all feel about the Judgment Day potentially trying to be the mainstays in carrying Monday Night Raw for the foreseeable future and with their storylines going on right now?
It's forced like hell. And the reason why I say it's forced is WWE over the past 2-3 years now, they were blessed with having a strong faction with a great storyline as the Bloodline, and they're really just trying to duplicate that now, going on to the next thing, which is the Judgment Day. But the problem is a lot of those guys, they're not as natural. I don't want to say natural, but it's just not working, because that group even came together, and the direction of where the group is going is different from where it started with Edge in the very beginning. So from that point, you're already in an interesting position. Then you're forcing them in the tag team division. You're forcing them into feuds with Cody Rhodes and main event Jey Uso, and then you have Sami Zayn who pops in here and there. Like there's nothing consistent going on with their storylines. And Rhea Ripley, she just pretty much holding that title as an accessory at this point. I mean, and then you have
big hard reaction.
Then you got Dominic, who is the NXT champion, and he's in no legitimate storyline on NXT, so he also has that belt as an accessory on Raw. And then the tag team titles, we've been talking about that for a while. That's just all over the place. So there's nothing consistent. Yes, Drew McIntyre being added to the fold is interesting, but Drew McIntyre didn't need it, number one. He could have been fine as a face by himself. He could have been good as a heel by himself. It does add more interest, but it's not needed. I think the Judgment Day needed Drew more than Drew needs the Judgment Day. I don't know. I don't want to be fully against it because I do have high hopes that maybe something good will come out of it. It's too forced right now for me to be too optimistic on it.
For sure. The negatives outweigh the positives right now for Judgment Day. It's way too many cooks in the kitchen now. Drew McIntyre has no point being in that group at all. You already were teasing the feud with El Jefe and and Finn, and you want to sweep that under the rug. Brought JD in. JD makes more sense than Drew. I feel like they're using Drew to fill out the Survivor Series thing. Drew doesn't make sense there. He's bigger than both of them, obviously. But my biggest issue is that I feel like the brand itself is suffering. To your point, what you were talking about, I guess multiple brands, because Dominic is holding a title that was actually really prominent on NXT. It's not really doing anything now. Rhea Ripley, I said this when we were talking about the top 500 or whatever it was. She hasn't done anything since winning the women's championship. As a character, as a presence, Rhea Ripley is up there. But she, even the 5-way or whatever the little match she had at the previous event, it was pointless. It's not like she doesn't have any. She's not pushing the division forward. She's just holding the title. So yeah, I just feel like it's way too much going on that they have no payoff for. There's nothing good that's going to come of these things. It's just they're building them up to knock them down. And I get that for the long term, but right now it's detrimental more than it is anything else.
Yeah, like I said, all that makes sense. Like everything just seems pointless. Like Drew McIntyre being on that, like he doesn't need. He's too big, too strong, powerful, and his character is bigger than the Judgment Day by itself. Like it doesn't make sense. I'm personally getting exhausted from seeing the Judgment Day or some member of the Judgment Day being on the main event of Monday Night Raw consecutively. Like you're already competing Monday Night Raw. You're already competing with Monday Night Football already, and it's just giving me more of a reason to turn on Monday Night Football because I'm like, all right, we got Damian Priest fighting Cody Rhodes. We got Finn Balor going against Seth Rollins. It's something that's Judgment Day versus somebody is of the regular 4 people. It's either Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Cody Rhodes, Seth Rollins. Like it's exhausting. Like you know how you play on WWE 2K23 and with the My GM, and when you're doing the feud and it say okay, it's not the cool off.
John Cena again.
Exactly. Like it's okay. It's getting stale. You need something else. And especially we're going into these important PLE months with Survivor Series, Royal Rumble, and
everything from the start sliding.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I up right here because it's I don't know. That's why if you had the Survivor Series as a regular format, you would have to worry about some of these storylines and things like that. And like when people have these titles as accessories, like with the tag titles, like I feel like right now WWE has enough quote unquote factions or tag teams, whether they are organic or not, to be on separate brands at this point. Like I feel like it's enough. Like we have enough superstars on NXT to have somebody as a prominent NXT champion. I was happy as hell when Trick Williams won the title. I got pissed when he lost it the next day.
Yeah.
Like just like stuff like that. I'm like, and the women's division is a working thing currently right now.
It's a working thing.
I don't see who can take the title off of Rhea Ripley right now, but they're probably gonna figure out a way when whoever wins either the Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank. So that makes sense right there. So it's I don't know. Raw ain't where it's at right now. I'm sorry. That's all I got. It's not SmackDown cool, but Raw is not.
But I mean, really, you want to segue into SmackDown?
I know. That's why I was about to go right to SmackDown, because SmackDown, we on some other stuff right there. We got people doing part-time work or now full-time. Workloads are dropping, and it's with the top 2 titles on the roster.
Has no champions. They have nobody there.
Yeah. So our undisputed Universal Champion, whatever that title is, no Roman Reigns. We ain't gonna see him until God knows when.
The Rumble.
The Rumble, yeah.
We're the Rumble, and now we have
Logan Paul,
social media megastar that is our U.S. champion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I ain't gonna see him again until the Rumble.
So yeah, because he has a special contract where he wrestles certain events, because he ain't wrestling on cable TV. We know that.
Nah, that ain't happening.
Right. They signed him for, he got a bag with that contract. We know that. So he only wrestling pay-per-views. I'm sorry, premium live events. So how do we feel about these new part-time champions holding it down for SmackDown?
Can you believe Io Sky is literally the main champion on SmackDown? regular. Like how does that sound to you? Like that,
and that kind of fell off too.
Yeah, man. It's just
that pop for her title has just been drifting downward.
Because it's not about her. They haven't made it about her.
Right.
They made it about damage control.
Yeah.
Exactly. She just got the title, but that's another story.
There's no focus on her.
Yeah, but let's talk about the part-timers real quick. Now, what are you saying, J-Bo?
No. Well, I mean, what else is there to say? You have an entire brand, of which SmackDown is still interesting. Don't get me wrong. I'm still interested in watching the show. It's just that, we have championships, and this is just any sport. You have championships because whoever the champion is the attraction. They're the main thing that you look forward to seeing. And we don't have any of that. Like, none of that. Like, we're really just basing our shows based on, superstars that you may favor, or, LA Knight coming out and doing Lord knows what. Like, this is all we have. I don't want to say this is the first time, but this is one of the more prominent times where we have a show where we really have no champions to look forward to. None. And I'm not saying, like, before when Brock Lesnar was around, he was the world champion, he was barely around, or when The Rock had the WWE title, he was barely around. Like, no, we don't have a heavyweight title, we don't have a mid-card title, we have a tag team title, and the women's title is in a faction where she just drifting with the flow. We have no champions.
We don't got a tag team title.
We don't have tag teams either because they're on Raw with the Judgment Day. Like, we have no champions to look forward to on SmackDown. I don't know. That's just wild to me.
And the sad part is they barely even have the superstars allude to the fact that they want to win the title. Like, nobody's aspiring even for these titles. It's like they don't exist when they're not on TV. That can't be good for what the title's supposed to be representing. You know what I'm saying? It hurts the prestige when it's not there. Yeah. Neither title is there. That's weird. That's just a weird decision to make. I don't know.
Right. Is that like at least have one mainstay on the show? Like
your heavyweight SmackDown champion, right? Okay.
And she lost in the shuffle of her own group, or the drama of her group. Yep. It's crazy.
So what's gonna happen with Damage Control since all them together now?
I mean, it has to break up, but I don't see a beneficial way for anybody in that group to benefit when they finally break up. Bayley, she's done so much where if she turns face, that'll be nice, but that's not really going to pay off. Dakota Kai, I love Dakota Kai, but I really don't see no payoff for her that's going to skyrocket her. And even though Io Sky got a championship out of it, she pretty much just have another tick on her accomplishment, but I don't see nothing skyrocketing her either. So when they break up, it's just, they're just going to fall along in the women's mid-card division, as what it was looking like now. Just didn't look like it's going anywhere.
Yeah, this is another example of them really just booking without knowing anything past a certain point. I feel like they brought them all together for the purpose of Survivor Series, and I'm hoping there's some split that makes sense. But Dakota Kai was already the third most important member of the group. Now she's the fifth. Sixth, fifth.
Yeah,
so because Kairi Sane and Asuka, they both came in. It really goes Bailey, Asuka, Io, Kairi Sane, and then Dakota Kai. So even if they do come up with some kind of breakup, some split, Dakota Kai is like she's the stuck in the middle. She's the nobody really wants her. Nobody, it's not her fault. They never really gave her anything to do in the group. And now they have inflated it to the point where she's just lost even more. When the champ is lost, that's bad enough. But now you got members that were OGs, and they're lost. So I don't know. I just don't. Damage control to me has just been floundering since it was created. It never really got to where you thought it was when they brought them back to join Bailey. It's just not there. Never did get there.
I would, now that Harv said it out loud, I would like to see like an underdog story from Dakota Kai come from this.
That would be great.
Like you said, she's, as of right now, she's like the least important of the group. But I can see, they start realizing that Dakota Kai isn't that important. So they start pushing her to the side. They start, ignoring her. And then, she's tried to take opportunities for herself where she could, build that ladder. So I would like to see that, something come from that.
I agree. I can see that. I just don't think that's the plan.
No.
I just thought about something real bad. I gotta say it after this recording is over. Well, yeah, like I agree with everything. Like I don't see nothing good coming out from all of this. So like we talked about these factions. We talked about damage control. We talked about, like I said, bloodline briefly. We talked about Judgment Day. I just feel like at this point we can just forget about factions because factions don't look like it's working out in this generation. Personally, let's just stick to tag teams and a couple like triplet teams here and there. That's it. But like y'all got these factions. It ain't doing it.
They not. Bobby Lashley and them not doing what anybody thought they would do.
I forgot about that one.
That's but the reason why Lashley's group is not popping is because they're losing unnecessary matches.
Absolutely.
There's no reason why they should be losing to the Brawling Brutes. There's no reason why they should be losing to Pretty Deadly. There's no reason why they should be losing matches clean. I
agree. It's bad booking. I agree with that, but that's what I'm saying. If you look at you just mentioned two more. Pretty Deadly. We got Alpha Academy. We have so many factions.
The two lower tier people of LWO.
Yeah. LWO. Yeah, we ain't even get there. LWO and the Santos Escobar stuff with Rey Mysterio and Carlito. And that was actually, to me, a good highlight of SmackDown. But it's way too much faction shit going on. They don't know. It's like they get lost in it. They have so many moving pieces in all these different groups, they're getting lost. And that's just, it's not conducive.
And there's nothing wrong with factions.
It's not when you do it right. I love factions.
Yeah, when you do it right, factions, exactly.
Do it right. So the fact that they want to test out more factions, that's fine. It's just that, as Harv been mentioning, because there's no overall end goal, you just got so many moving pieces with no ending destination. So yeah, no problem with factions. It's just what they've been doing with them.
Yeah. They're not making them important. It's weird. It's a really weird feeling. I love factions. Factions are really some of my favorite moments in the wrestling industry and the wrestling business in the history, period. Factions, love them. But they're more missed than hit right now.
I love my faction I'm part of right now with the crew, with Mike Outlaw, Raheem De La Suede, Mace Goods, and Calvin Taylor. I like that's a great faction right there. We over
y'all having fun out there.
What y'all doing over there? Yeah, but about these factions, I know one thing that because I love the Street Profits and I really love Montez Ford. Hell of a wrestler, phenomenal person. He's just not believable to me as a heel. I can't get with it. I just can't. I can't. Like it's I can't, like, he's way too animated and he got just too much charisma for me to believe him to be a bad guy. Like
it's the charisma.
I was like,
they would have to give him the mic and let him be a dick for him to be
that might be it. That might be it.
Yeah, I feel like he could play a good dick heel, but that's not what they letting him do. He's just doing the same stuff he was doing as a face. But if they gave him the mic and was like, hey, go out there and just talk trash, I do think that he could probably get over as a heel.
Yeah. I don't think he needs a mouthpiece, and Lashley being a mouthpiece doesn't really make it any better.
Nah, that don't make sense at all. He should honestly be the mouthpiece of the group if they were smart. Lashley wouldn't talk, and Dawkins would probably just back him up, ad-lib him or whatever, but Lashley shouldn't do no damn talking. It should be for.
It's funny that Lashley is the mouthpiece when Lashley is the one who needed the mouthpiece for him to finally get the recognition that he's been working on. It's kind of opposite at that point. It
is. Now they're about to add B-Fab to the group too, look like.
Oh, God.
What was that? What?
Nothing against B-Fab. It just, nothing against B-Fab. I didn't like the in-ring that she done back when she was wrestling, but adding her to the group would just not help. Let's just put that out there. It just will not help.
That's it. Just not going to help.
Just won't help. That's my only problem.
Oh shoot! I don't know what's going on. Like I said, we've been gone for a minute. We came back and everything has just been lopsided since. Hopefully, us coming back to making these episodes, it'll be a little turnaround or something. Because I don't know what's going on today in the wrestling world with the WWE.
Triple H, if you a fan, I need you to drop a comment somewhere, bro, so we know. So we know we give you good ideas. This is what you need. We got you.
Right. Like, let's just ease up on the factions. Let's stop, because we ain't got that many superstars left out there in the fold. Like, you keep putting people together. We about to have a PLE called the Faction Federation or something. I don't know.
I mean, honestly, factions as we have now, there's no reason why 1 week before Survivor Series, there's only 4 matches on the card and only 2 of them are tag matches. As many factions as we have.
It's crazy.
Crazy.
Don't make sense. So much of it just doesn't make sense.
It don't. It's all good. But with that being said, that is all the time we have for today. Oh, before I sign off real quick, shout out to whoever made Trick Williams' theme song for his entrance. I probably said in the last episode, but it was a month ago. I don't care. But shout out to that man again who was cooking it up in the studio that night or day. I don't care. You gotta play in the car one day. That shit hit hard for real, big hard.
I'm gonna take you up on it. The last one you gave me was trash.
This will actually hit. I can't wait to actually go into a show and he's actually wrestling because I want to be in that environment when they all yelling "whoop that trick." That's probably gonna sound hard.
It probably will because they do be chanting with it pretty. It's I feel
exactly. So like I hope they have they stand delivered. I hope he's on that show. I really hope he should be on that show. I would if he's on there, I will be there. That's the only reason I'm going to the show. I will leave right after because I don't care about no other match that night. I just want to be there for that. I will get the worst ticket in the building. I just want to be in the environment when they chanting there. That's it. That's all the time we have for today. Episode 79. Thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for supporting. And thank y'all for being here while we were on our hiatus, while we were gone. We appreciate the support. We appreciate the love. And we promise y'all, we ain't going to be gone for this long ever again. You know what? Let me knock on wood because shit happens, you know. I'm on a string with 2 fathers over here, so something might happen.
Exactly.
Thanksgiving break coming up.
Right. Thanksgiving,
Christmas.
Birthdays. You know what? We will do our best to stay consistent. Let me just say that, okay, y'all? But until then, thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for tuning in and everything. But before I sign off, do this one super favor for us, and that is to Follow us on all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, No Roast Podcast on all podcast platforms. Google Podcasts, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Podbean, everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR Podcast. This is episode 79. No Roast Podcast, #KTR, and we are out.
What should they do? Big Harv.
Y'all still here with us? We still need you to pump them numbers. That's all we need. It's not a lot to ask. We won't ask you a lot often. Really, just ask you the same thing every time you watch. So just make that make sure you're making that happen. Yeah.
Hey, you never throw something on the screen.
That don't compute in my mind, I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.